Something truly extraordinary is happening right now in the world of solar-powered electric vehicles. If you have been following Aptera, you already know they are doing something very special. But if you are new here, buckle up, because this update will genuinely surprise you. Aptera recently released a video giving us an inside look at their solar panel production. What they revealed has completely changed the conversation around how fast this vehicle will arrive. We are talking about a vehicle that charges itself just by sitting in the sunlight. No plugging in is required for daily driving, just park and let the sun work. That idea alone is enough to make anyone curious, but the production details are exciting. The video opens with the roof of the Aptera production facility running entirely on solar. It would be strange if a solar vehicle company did not use the sun itself. Beyond that, what you see spread across the rooftop tells a very interesting story indeed. Laid out in rows are solar hoods and hatches finished in different body colors now. These are not just prototypes collecting dust, they look like real production-ready components today. The question is whether these will end up on actual vehicles or are just testing. Either way, seeing them laid out is a strong visual signal of serious forward progress. The video takes us deeper into the actual production process, and things get fascinating quickly. You get a close look at copper connectors that link solar cells inside each panel. These tiny connectors allow electricity generated by sunlight to actually flow and be used daily. It is a detail most people overlook, but it is critical to how everything works. Next, you see the press, the machine that physically shapes and bonds solar panel layers. Think of it like laminating something important, except the stakes are much higher than that. The press takes the cells and combines them with protective layers sitting on the top. These layers protect the surface from everything nature can possibly throw at it every day. Rain, hail, ice, and radiation. The panel has to survive all of it for years. What the video shows next is exactly how Aptera makes sure that goal is met. One mysterious moment shows panels lighting up in a clear sequence across the factory floor. First one panel lights up, then another, glowing slightly differently than the last. One of those panels lit up slowly and gradually instead of flashing on altogether. That slow buildup raised a very interesting question about what we were actually seeing. Was that light being emitted by the panel or simply reflecting light from the room? If panels were emitting light, that is a fascinating technical detail worth keeping an eye. Moving past the mystery lights, the video shifts into serious testing territory with UV lights. UV testing might sound boring, but for a solar vehicle, it is absolutely everything today. The sun powers this vehicle, but the sun also degrades materials over time quite significantly. Without proper resistance, the solar panels would start losing efficiency within just a few years. Interestingly, the video showed two different UV testing setups being used at the same time. The first setup looked like a standard chamber designed for controlled laboratory testing conditions only. The second setup was different in design, raising questions about what was being tested here. Perhaps one was testing the full assembly while the other focused on a single component. Whatever the case, using multiple testing methods is actually very genuinely reassuring for the future. It shows Aptera is not cutting corners and is stress testing every possible durability angle. Then comes one of the most visually compelling parts of the entire production video today. Hail testing is exciting because hail is one of the most destructive natural forces around. We're talking about frozen ice traveling at high speed and slamming into hard surfaces. For a regular car, hail causes dents and paint damage, which is very annoying indeed. But for a solar vehicle, a hail strike directly threatens the entire power source itself. How does the panel hold up when it gets hammered by high-speed frozen ice? The testing shows the panel mounted in the shape it will appear on the vehicle. It is not attached to the rest of the vehicle during this round of testing. That distinction matters more than you might think when evaluating the results shown to us. When mounted in isolation, it can flex and absorb impact across the whole surface area. On the real vehicle, edges will be secured, which changes how force distributes across panels. More force would concentrate at the center where the hail is making contact very hard. This does not mean the panel will fail, it just means testing conditions must evolve. Seeing the panel flex and shake rather than crack gives a tremendous amount of confidence. It suggests the material has excellent energy absorption properties, which is exactly what you want. Next up is freeze testing, a real conversation starter for people living in cold regions. The image shows a substantial amount of ice built up directly on the panel's surface. One question stands out above all others you might ask about this specific winter challenge. How do you get rid of ice so solar panels can start working again daily? This is not a trivial question. It is a problem every owner could face eventually. In heavy winters, ice accumulation on solar panels is going to be a regular challenge. A regular car has a defroster, but a solar vehicle needs an entirely different solution. Covered panels means zero solar charging capacity until that ice eventually melts or is cleared. Aptera has not yet revealed how they plan to address this challenge for cold climates. But the fact they are testing it means they are fully aware of this problem. In engineering, knowing a problem exists is always the first step to solving it correctly. Freeze testing confirms that the panel structure remains intact even under heavy ice loads today. There is no visible cracking or deformation. It holds its form remarkably well through cold. That is a critical data point because it shows panels can survive extreme weather conditions. Now let us talk about durability, because this is where Aptera makes a bold promise. The goal is for each solar panel unit to last 15 years in service minimum. In some discussions, that number goes as high as 20 years of panel life total. Think about what that actually means for you as an owner over the long term. You buy the vehicle and the solar panels keep working for years with no maintenance, no major maintenance cost, and no replacement cycle every few years like a normal car. And after 15 years, the modular design means replacement could be quite straightforward for owners. You will not need to send the entire vehicle back just to swap one panel. The design is modular enough that replacing a single panel should be a manageable process. That is smart engineering that protects the long-term value of your investment without lock-in. Now the video takes a turn that will genuinely surprise quite a lot of people. We get a look at the actual production line running inside the Aptera facility now. The number shared in this part is the one that everyone is talking about today. Aptera is currently producing 10 panels per day, and that number is going to grow. 10 panels per day might not sound dramatic, but hold that thought for a moment. Each full solar package requires exactly 4 solar panels to complete the installation on top. Making 10 panels a day gives you roughly 2.5 vehicles every day. 2.5 vehicles per day is the number that has everyone genuinely excited. The original estimate put initial production at about just 1 vehicle per day only before. Right out of the gate, before full production begins, they are already clearly ahead now. Getting ahead of your own production estimate this early is very significant for the company. It suggests the panel manufacturing side is further along than many people ever expected today. But here is the important caveat that is worth keeping clearly in mind for everyone. Being able to produce panels does not automatically mean you can produce complete vehicles daily. A finished Aptera involves much more than just solar panels sitting on a frame daily. There is the chassis, battery, body, and all other components that need careful assembly now. Panels are just one piece of a much larger and more complex production puzzle here. Until every piece is assembled and tested, the real production rate remains unknown for now. While 2.5 vehicles per day sounds exciting, staying grounded matters for us.